Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Valerii Buslaiev, and I'm a PhD student at the Applied Math Department in Kyiv Polytechnic Institute. And today I am presenting the paper written by Oleg Chertov, Doctor of Sciences, and by me, called Video Game Sales Prediction Based on Social Media Data Using Machine Learning, a Survey and Future Directions, for the 8th International Conference on Computer Science, Engineering, and Education Applications. In the last few decades, the video game industry has transformed into a multi-billion sector, and thus the problem of predicting the popularity of upcoming products, such as future published games, has appeared. And traditional sales prediction methods rely on historical data and statistical approaches. However, the specificity of the video game market is that the majority of its products are distributed digitally, and the main way for the user to express their feedback is through messages on social media. So this study explores whether the sentiment analysis of these messages might prove a useful tool for real-time forecasting of sales. In this study, we formulate two hypotheses that have to be either confirmed or rejected. The first one is that nowadays the scientific community lacks high-quality developments in forecasting video game sales using sentiment analysis specifically, or that such developments just do not exist. The second hypothesis is that the sentiment analysis can actually be a useful and potentially effective method for the purpose of predicting the level of sales of the upcoming game. As of research methodology, firstly, as a data source, we have used the Scopus database. Firstly, due to its wide resources amount, and secondly, because the Scopus is believed to be a good validation mark, and journals indexing in Scopus are believed to be well reviewed and contain significant and useful research. We used three keywords for our research. Firstly, video games as the discussed market. Secondly, sentiment analysis as a method of interest for us. And lastly, sales prediction as the problem we are aiming to solve, with individual, paired, and collective searches in our survey. Firstly, to understand whether the discussed topics are widely covered by scientific discussion, we used a single term search. As you may see on this graph, for the video games keyword, the trend is upcoming. There are in general 20,000 publications in the computer science field specifically, with 1,600 publications annually on average, beginning from 2021 as of the beginning of the current decade. For the sentiment analysis, the results are even more significant. There are in general 37,000 publications in the computer science field. Each year, in the last 4 years, 5,000 papers have been published. And as of the sales prediction problem, we may also see the upcoming trend. There are 10,000 publications in general in the computer science field. In the last 4 years, the average number of publications are reaching 1,200 each year. As a conclusion, we may see that those topics are widely discussed and well discussed by the scientific community, and thus we may proceed to our paired term search, where we will see whether the intersections of our discussed topics are also covered by the research. Firstly, we aim to understand what approaches are used for the video game sales predictions. And there are a major number of studies, but they use different models such as ARIMA, search query analysis, which is a statistical approach, different neural networks such as graphical neural networks or hybrid architectures with neural networks, and data mining approaches, or machine learning feature selection. But those studies do not use sentiment analysis of the social media data. Then we proceeded to understand whether the sentiment analysis is actually widely used in the context of video games. And yes, it is widely used too. It is utilized for rating generation, for example, sarcasm and aggression detection, or understanding the lexicon of the gamers. However, even though studies show the effectiveness of sentiment analysis, they do not use this tool to predict video game sales. Lastly, we want to understand whether sentiment analysis is used for sales prediction as a tool for this problem. And yes, different studies show that, for example, for vehicle sales prediction or stock market forecasting, the sentiment analysis is used, or for example, the box office prediction. And these studies are of greater interest to us because, as well as video games, the movies are distributed digitally, as I said at the beginning of the presentation. Thus, the insights from these studies, which discuss the box office revenue, may be useful for us. But in general, those models are what is called a hybrid model. They use simultaneously the traditional statistical approach using historical data and the sentiment analysis of real-time data from social media. But the key challenges of those approaches are data reliability and scalability. So the key findings of our searches are, firstly, as we said about collective search, there is no significant research that uses sentiment analysis as a tool for predicting video game sales, which confirms our first hypothesis. And secondly, the hybrid models integrating sentiment analysis and traditional forecasting methods are used for general sales prediction, and that proves our second hypothesis. The real-time nature of the sentiment analysis and using the sentiment analysis might prove useful in future research, but there are different challenges in this approach that include sarcasm detection, the specificity of the market, the specificity of gaming vocabulary, and so on. As a conclusion, we may say that sentiment analysis presents a promising but yet underexplored tool for predicting video game sales. Integrating social media insights with existing sales forecasting methods can largely improve the accuracy of the existing models or future released models. Research has to focus on refining sentiment analysis models for the gaming industry. I thank you for your attention and provide references for the sources used in this presentation. Thank you.